close out of here. Let me go on this end. Alright, so let me just make sure people is in the chat room and everything. I'm still on this. Let me mute that out. So we got one watching. We wait till we get a few people in the house or whatever. Thus far, we just got one person in. People normally come pretty fast. So peace to everybody in the chat. We got 14. We're gonna go around once we get about 30. Let me see. All right, we got 17 in. All right, peace to everybody in the chat room. I got Dr. Professor David Imhotep, the author of his revised book, The First Americans Was Africans. And we're gonna just do a brief interview with the young fella. And you know, like I said, prior to the interview, me and the brother have been talking. We have spoken on the phone a couple of times, and you know, a very enlightful brother, have a wealth of information. And if you guys stay in on the interview, you'll definitely enjoy the interview. So with that being said, Dr. Imhotep, can you just please introduce yourself, people, as well as some of your accommodations and everything, and let the people get familiar with who you are.
Okay, Hotep, everyone. My name is Dr. David Imhotep. There's nothing to fear. I've been blessings. I've had blessings, and I give them to you, my dears. I am very, very honored to be on this show this afternoon, and hopefully we will bring a lot of information to you that you can use for yourself, your family, your friends, and whoever else you come in contact with that will help us bring us out of the condition that we are here in America, KKKA. I'm done.
All right, so as far as like some of your schooling and some of your education, what was like what kind of degrees do you have, like as far as schooling?
Let me see. I have a master's in business administration from the University of Maryland. I have a let me see, a PhD. My first PhD was in nutrition from oh Lord, what school was that? Union University. My second, oh, goodness gracious, I'm getting mixed up. Anyway, my second PhD was from Union University, and that was in ancient African history. And of course, the first one was in nutrition, which I was lucky enough to be Muhammad Ali's nutritionist his last 7 years. So, yeah, that's about it.
You said Muhammad Ali nutritionist, really?
His last 7 fights, I was with him. I was his nutritionist.
And let me ask you a question real quick, just touching on Muhammad Ali. This might just be a little bit off beat or whatever though, but did you, when you was working with Muhammad Ali, did you notice that he started coming down with the illness he came in, or did it something that just come suddenly?
No, it came slowly.
Oh, so it came slowly. So you did start seeing, like, over how long of a period of time would you say? Like maybe over a couple months, or was it years? Or
years? It was over several years.
Over several years, and you get started seeing like deteriorations in his like his memory and things.
What happened with him, real quickly, is he was, when he first started, no one could touch him. He still till today he doesn't have a mark on his face or cut. But no one could touch him because it was dance. I mean, he could do it all, man. You know, he could be right in front of you and go like this, whatever, and then come back, boom, and tag you. So they saw, you know, the powers that be saw that he was in Sugar Ray Robinson's class, and possibly even better. So they had to do something to slow him down, and legally they couldn't do anything. He was spotless. So they got him on this draft thing where he said he's not going to go to the draft. He says, why should a black man help the white man go hold on for what he stole from the red man. So Ali was sharp, and so after 3.5 years, usually if a boxer's off for 6 months to a year, he's done. But they kept him away for 3.5 years. 3.5 years. So when he came back, his legs were gone. He could no longer float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. You know, rumble, young man, rumble. He was an older man. He had to do the rope a dope, lay on the ropes and take punches and whatever and cover up for the first 2 minutes. And the third minute he could come out and he could dance for 1 minute. So that's what happened with him. He took a lot of punches later.
Let me ask you a question, just touching on Muhammad Ali, right? Now, do you think that maybe the government think that he was too outspoken, and after his boxing career, maybe he might have went into politics and maybe had been very influential in the lives of so-called Black Americans? Do you think that?
You are very astute. You are on the money. I can see why you got your own show, because you're bad. You're right on the top of the needle, right at the pinpoint. Yes, that's exactly what was going on.
So you think that maybe, just real quick, just for conspiracy theories, and we ain't going to say that this is just something that maybe I've been thinking the whole time.
Yeah. It's just
do you think maybe?
There's a possibility.
Do you think yeah? Is it a possibility that maybe they slipped him something for him to come down with that condition?
Possibly, but they didn't have to with all those other head trauma he had. Boom. I mean, when he fought not Mike Tyson, when he fought oh good Lord, I can't think of
Larry Holmes?
No, Larry Holmes couldn't punch like Foreman, man. Foreman was hitting him so hard. He was like this on the ropes. Foreman was hitting him with uppercuts to his arms, and he was lifting his whole body up off the floor 1 or 2 inches, man. The camera got that. That's how powerful that man was. And what did Ali do? Knocked him the F out. Knocked him out. And this is in his older times. I mean, this is one of the hardest punches in the world. So this man, if he'd gone straight through, and this is the last thing I'm gonna say, we need to get on to our subject. But if he would have been, he'd have been undefeated. He'd been undefeated.
Wow, interesting. All right, well, so as far as your book, The First Americans Was Africans, what influenced you to write that? What was like your mind state? What made you come up with that? Because I'm quite sure at that time, it wasn't a lot of people who was talking about this. It wasn't a lot of people who was even thinking in that mind state. What was like? Because like I said, when I first read your book, that was one of the things that kind of compelled me to start doing research. Because a lot of us, we're always told that we got Native American enough. You ask, like I said, my documentary that I'm doing, you ask a lot of Blacks or a lot of Black Americans, and the majority of us would say we got Cherokee or Ani. We call it Cherokee. It's Ani Yawanya, or we got Black.
That's the second question. Hold on to that question. Now I want to answer that one. The first one was what?
All right.
What did you ask me? The first one.
All right. So what was the influence of the book? Like
what inspired me? Okay. All right. What inspired me was my spiritual father, Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, who I followed around, man. Anytime he was anywhere within 200 miles of Baltimore, my city where I came from, where I grew up, I went to see him. And after a while, after the speeches, he would get with a little group of people who come and talk to me at autographs, whatnot. And he saw me, and we started talking back and forth. And I just saw the brilliant freaking man he was, man. So I read all his books, everything, listened to everything he had to say. And finally, 30 years later, after he wrote his last book, I found that this man was a phenomenal person who I need to follow. So 30 years after his last book, I started writing my book. And it's not a copy of his book. It's new things, just like things like DNA. Because back when he was writing and lecturing, whatnot, there was DNA was not in the loop. There was no DNA information. So yeah, a lot of things happened in those 30 years, and that's what my book is filled with now.
Okay, so you was a fan of Ivan Van Sertima.
Absolutely.
Well, me too. I'm a very big fan of Ivan Van Sertima, and actually, like, you know what I'm saying, like, I actually learned from Ivan Van Sertima through a rap artist. His name is Nas, and one of his songs he mentioned him, and I was like, who the hell is Ivan Van Sertima? And then I started doing research, and then we start talking about the first Americans. I mean, well, before Columbus, they came before Columbus, and I seen that, and this was like, you know, I was already kind of like conscious, or kind of like,
Right.
educational. I kind of understood where he was going with it, because, like I said, coming up, my grandmother, she was very, very copper color. We call it copper color. We don't call it black. We call it copper color, brownish color, or whatever. And she always said that her grandmother told her she was a Cherokee, that she wasn't no African. I mean, no, not to take away from the African thing, but coming up, a lot of our people were saying that we wasn't directly Africans, because even when they, what I'm trying to get at is, because even when the thing Jesse Jackson came up, the African American thing, a lot of our people knew that we was already here in this continent. Now, a lot, and like I said, even with my grandmother, she always used to say that. She said, I'm not black. And she didn't mean that she wasn't black as far as part of the people. She just meant that, no, I'm not black. You know what I'm saying? My skin color is not black. My grandmother told me the tribe that we was, and she said we was Indians. You know what I'm saying? And I'm quite sure you heard that coming up in your family, right? Have you heard? I'm quite sure you have somebody in your family.
Take care of that.
That,
Let me take
huh?
care of that. Let me take care of that right now. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. In North Central South America, the bones that the scientists have found, the oldest bones were Homo sapiens. That's who is on the planet now, Homo sapiens. There hasn't been one bone from the archaic or older people who are the Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Homo afarensis, or Neanderthal. You cannot find any of those archaic old bones in any of the Americas, only Homo sapiens. That means that anyone could have always been here. That's not true. All right? That's not true. By science, that's not true. Okay? So that we've taken care of that part. The other thing is this: the first Africans come over here around 250 to 300,000 years ago, and we have bones and artifacts and different things to back that statement up. So we've been here a long time now. There was no one on the planet except for black people. Now, you forget about the name Africans or Kebulon or anything like that. There were no people of a dark hue other than these people on the earth. There were no yellow people. There were no white people. There were some tan people because these were the little Anu Twa, who were the first Homo sapiens. They was very short, so-called pygmies. They were in the dense jungles in Africa. That Africa has a few very dense jungles, and all of the sun rays couldn't get to them, so they started lighting up, but they never were white. Now, what happened? Where did white skin come from? That came from the Ice Age. That was 12 to 11,000 years ago. The Ice Age, okay? And that was here for, hit 115,000 years ago, and it didn't let up to about 11,000 to 9,000 years ago. So for all of those years, from 115,000 years ago to 9 to 11,000 years ago, there was nothing but an ice age on this planet. Now, everywhere wasn't covered with ice, but most of, from, I would say, I think it's just the 51st parallel across the United States up was ice, and then down the same thing at the other end. So the black folks who were up in Europe at that time, when it hit, and it hit like this, it hit overnight, okay? It hit overnight, and the history shows that it hit with a ferocity, and it went down to like 20, 30 below zero. So these people, these Africans, these black people who were up there started losing their color. And they lost their color for years and years and years until they were bleached white. All right. Now, the other thing about white folks, the White folks have the white skin, which varies from white to a little off white, but that's their variation there. But as far as in eyes and hair color, they can have anywhere from blue eyes and blonde hair, or I should say from the albinos, pink eyes and blonde hair, to the dark eyes and dark hair. But their skin is not very dark because they were up there without the rays that they needed, okay, to give them color. So slowly but surely, this ice age began to stop, and they started getting out of the ice and going to other parts of the world, and they would mix in with the dark skinned people, and you would get people like the Mongoloids who turned into Asians, and then other folks who turned into all of the other so-called peoples of the planet. But it all started down in the motherland, okay, where the Nile River flows. It all started there for hundreds of thousands, possibly even a million years, where there were people of our color. Like you were saying about this Ilia Zanto, she claims to, she's a Haitian lawyer, brilliant, beautiful Haitian lawyer. And she says that in Haiti or Haiti, there is a mountain that has a gigantic cover of granite at the top, and there are signs and symbols that are carved into this mountain, and you see only conscious human beings who are Homo sapiens at the very most. They were able to carve things of this nature because it was intelligent. So intelligent beings have been on this earth a long time, but it wasn't until approximately 3000 BC, DNA genetically speaking, Dr. Carvelli Sforza wrote in his book, the history and geography of human genes, which is 450 pages long. And on page 135, it says that there was no white skin, genetically speaking, DNA genetically speaking, until 3000 BC. So it's over.
Hmm. That's
It's over.
interesting. So, all right. So, as far as your book, like, what do you cover in America? I know we was talking about um the Sphinx that was found in Bermuda or whatever, and actually, if I can get an opportunity to pull that up,
It was
I'll
in the
pull it up.
Bahamas, bro. It wasn't Bermuda. It was off. It was off the Nassau, the island of Nassau, about three
Okay.
miles. About I think it was the south western tip of Nassau. They found the Sphinx, and it was as big as a Ford pickup truck.
Okay. So let me see this.
And nobody built Sphinxes except for black folks in Africa. That's where that was
Okay.
from.
So you said off the coast,
Of
off the
Nassau
coast
in the Bahamas.
of Nassau and the Bahamas. All right.
And you can Google that and you can see that. You know, you'll see a man in a what do you call it? With a snorkel, and you can see how the man's body is almost as big as the Sphinx. So it's not a gigantic Sphinx. Right there, Garrett's in the middle. See the one in the middle?
Yeah, this one right here.
Right there, it is. It's not gigantic. Now hold it. Go too far. Look at this one right here. The one, two, three, the fourth one over. That is a picture of a city that is off the coast of Cuba, on the southwestern coast of Cuba, 3.5 miles over, about a mile down. And that is a city, an old city. And look at the pyramids. Only one people built pyramids, my brother, and that was
Mm.
Africans.
We're talking about, all right. So you're saying right here.
That's it.
Yeah, all right. I just actually did a video on this one right here.
There you
Now
go.
let me ask you a question, right? Now, how old do you think these pyramids are right here?
Well,
And you know what? And just for the sake of the viewers, because a lot of my subscribers, we all right, when we say melanin, we're gonna say melanin, we're gonna say basically all right, African looking people, but a lot of people like as a lately don't subscribe to the word Africa because or African or whatever. So what other word would you like us to use, or what other word can we use to describe the people in that region?
Hey, black people.
All right, okay, all right. But other than black people, I mean, just other than because we know that see, like, all right, what I do is, I'm a researcher as well, and I know that when the Europeans came here, the Dutch and the British, they used the term black as a civil status, and as well as white. So when we see the checkerboard, we know the Masonic tools or whatever. So basically,
Dr. Ben used to call it Alkebulan. What about that?
Okay. Okay. I mean, no, I just want to just ask you, like, for your research,
Right.
what other words have you been found? I mean, because even when you go into the word Afri, Afar, they talking about the Punic tribe, dealing in North Africa, and we know that in Africa there's thousands of different tribes, and none of them are originally the Afri. So we know that the European applied that term to that continent to basically kind of lock it in, because they naming continents to say, well, okay, people came from here and people came from there, but as far as
Alkebulan. Stick with
okay,
Alkebulan.
we can rock with that. We can rock with that. So
Dr. Ben was the man. Dr. Ben knew his stuff. Okay.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. So Dr. Ben, right? I got a video with Dr. Ben and the Caribbean brother that used to be always talking to Dr. Ben. And the Caribbean brother actually brought some information to Dr. Ben, and he was telling them how when Columbus came here, Columbus seen tribes in America, and these tribal men, he said that they was darker than night or whatever. And I just was wondering, like, why Dr. Ben, or why a lot of people, because even, are you familiar with James Smalls?
Absolutely. That's
okay, so
brother. James Smalls a brilliant brother.
So James Smalls, as of lately, what he said was this. He said, he said that it been black people in the Americas for over 200,000 years, right? I'm talking about living here, not just people just coming here and going back and forth to Africa. We talking about people living here, because that the Americas America is very fruitful, have plenty of food, plenty of fish and everything. So why somebody would just come and abandon here would be definitely, would definitely be a mystery, which we already know that, because you have done research as far as the pyramids in South America. I talk about the ones in Peru. And I got an article up here I'm gonna show you, further on down the interview. But he actually said that he said his people was from Carolina, and his people used to always take him to the mounds. Are you familiar with the mounds in the South?
Absolutely. There's mounds all over. There's mounds there's mounds in almost every continent. It's like there are pyramids in every continent, including Antarctica.
Yes.
Okay. Only people from Alkebulan, if you will, build pyramids. White folks, Asians, Indians do not build pyramids.
That's right. That's right. Indeed. That's right. That's right. And that's right. That's absolutely right. So so James Smalls actually came out and he said that. So one of the brothers asked him, like, they said, well, if you knew it was always blacks in the Americas, and that perhaps that most of us are not directly from Africa, our ancestors have been here for over 200,000 years. Why haven't anyone brought that to the attention of the people, so we can at least know who we are? Because my understanding, this is how I look at it. Okay, if you want to subscribe to the fact that black people migrated from Africa to the Americas, or even if you want to subscribe to the fact that where the Atlantic Ocean at, there was land there, there was land and cities there, just like how we see this underwater pyramid right here. So we know.
Stop for a second, because you are getting all over the place. Can I just address that one last thing, which is a brilliant thing that you brought up, my brother.
All right, go ahead.
That where did it come from and where did it go? All right.
Yes. Okay.
What happened was, when there was ice, during the ice age, okay, A lot of the ocean's water got sucked up into ice. Therefore, because it was more ice, it was less water in the oceans. If there's less water in the oceans, then the water goes out farther and farther and farther and exposes more and more land. Therefore, you see the pyramids here off of Cuba, a mile down. All right. Now, people didn't go underneath the water with submarines and build these things. This land was exposed to to no water, was unexposed water, and there was land there without having water covering it for hundreds of thousands of years. And then later on, as the Earth goes into different orbits or different axes and different planets that are pulling it towards it, the axis change a little bit, and so does the axis of the Earth, and it gets to a point where the ice is exposed to sun and not being exactly north and south, but being over to maybe 50, 60 degrees or 90 degrees, something like this, and it gets more sun and starts to melt the ice. So this is what happened. The ice started to melt, and when the ice started to melt, cities like you see right now on the viewer off of Cuba started to fill with water. So there's no magic about that.
Okay. So all right. So you believe that the land where the Atlantic Ocean is at, that it was landed. So I'm quite sure you have heard the stories of Atlantis and all of these mythology stories and everything. So do you believe that? Because it's so funny that we got a city called Atlanta, then we have the Atlantic Ocean or whatever. So I mean, it wouldn't be like too outrageous for us to believe that there was land there that was called Atlantis. Would that be too far out of the spectrum of what we believe?
Not at all. Not at all. Okay. As far as Atlantis is concerned, all right, there were many Atlantises. Just like the ocean doesn't go down in just one place or it rises in one place. It goes down all across the planet, or it rises all across the planet. So when it went down across the planet, there were many other places that were exposed. All right. So let's just talk about the Atlantis right now. The Atlantis, which is in the Atlantic Ocean, right where the Bahamas are. If you go to the Bahamas today, the Bahamian islands that you see are the mountaintops of a gigantic island.
Okay. So now you're talking my language.
Atlantis now. And it has, I'll tell you this now, and it has, there are a couple of things that you can still see there under the water. And that is what the last 3 chapters of my book deals with. And that is the so-called Bimini Road, which was actually, if you go down a mile off of the island of Bimini, okay, you'll see where the land began. And the way you can know it began, because there is a pier, a 600-yard long pier in 30 feet of water. And 50 yards back from that towards the land, there's a 600 yard long breakwater. I'm sorry, the pier was adjacent to the land like this. So when you get off the pier, you're on the land. All right. Then if you get on the pier, you look out towards Florida. Okay. If you look out towards Florida, 50 yards out, they built a breakwater. And the reason they built a breakwater is so that the water would not come in and break on the pier, and then the boats that are hooked up to the pier and attached to the pier will go up and down with the ebb and flow of the waves. So they were brilliant people that they were. Out from that breakwater, they had from the pier, they built a breakwater with a lot of gigantic blocks that where the waves would break on the breakwater, and then inside there for 50 yards from all the way to the pier, it was calm water. So they could come in there and they could just dock their boats, and without the boat going up and down, they could load their boats or they could take the things off of their boats. So you can see that. And also you will see how the breakwater was, and also the pier was made. Gigantic blocks, 2 to 35-ton blocks. They were dress blocks, which means they were smooth and they were so close a razor blade could not get in between. And that should ring a bell, because that is what they found was how the pyramids were made, with blocks that gigantic, but with the ability to carve them so perfectly straight up and down that they would fit like this, and a razor blade couldn't fit in between. I'm sure you've heard about that from the pyramids. So only people such as the Egyptians and the Nubians and the Cushites built these pyramids like that at that time. When we go back, how old is the Great Pyramid? The Great Pyramid, when I went to Africa to the different countries in Africa with the Dogon, they told me that the Great Pyramid is 71,000 years old. And I said, well, how do you know that? You certainly couldn't date it with the birth of Jesus, of Christ, right? Because these were tens of thousands of years before there was a Jesus, or there was a Christ. And that was they looked at the constellations in the atmosphere at night, and they would pick a certain point every month to see the constellations and how they would change. And what they found was at a certain time, they took the constellations and they saw that they were right here, and they went back all the years, how long it was since the constellation was like that. And the constellations show 71,000 years ago, they were all the same. So that's how they know how old the Great Pyramid is. And before the Great Pyramids were the step pyramids, the pyramids of the pyramid of Imhotep. All right, that's a step pyramid, and that was even before 71,000. So you see how long we have been a conscious people who built things and who had a high civilization. And there you go. That is in Latin America. That's the Great Pyramid of the Sun. And you see the other little pyramids. The Pyramid of the Moons is in Tenochtitlan in Mexico. So the first Mexicans again. Now these people who built these first pyramids, not the people
breaking up a little bit. Mic check.
Okay, you need a mic check. Am I breaking up?
Okay. Yeah, these are. Yeah.
Are you okay?
Breaking up a little bit? Just, I mean, let me see something. We can get some pictures of this. Computer sometime it be acting out. Let me make sure you still with us and everything.
I'm still with you. Can you hear me clearly?
Hey, Warren,
yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me clearly without breaking up?
Yeah, sound good.
Yeah, no.
Sound good.
You know what? Sometime when you open up, sometime when I open up some of these pages, it does that.
Okay, well, you see that pyramid. That's a pyramid, like I say, in Mexico, about 60 miles northeast of Mexico City, and that's a pyramid of the sun. The people who were building these type of pyramids, the pyramids that were step pyramids, were the short Anu and Twa, who were 3.5 to 4.5 feet tall, the so-called pygmies. They were the first Homo sapiens. They went all around the world building these pyramids, and you can find them in every continent, including Antarctica. In the snow, that's right. Because of the global warming now, the mountains in Antarctica have been melted halfway down, and they started seeing pyramids that were exposed. And there were 5 pyramids that were exposed half the way down to the base. And I got a picture of one of them, and I went back about 3 weeks later to get another picture of all of them. And guess what? All of them before were gone and taken down off the internet, because someone doesn't want us to know about our history.
But I've heard about that. Let me see, maybe if I can get a picture. Let me close some of this stuff I got open right here, and we're gonna go to it and see whether or not we can get a picture of it. Maybe we can find a picture of it. Hold up 1 second. Let me close some of this stuff out, because this is probably my computer runs slow, and probably the reason why we picking up the way we are. So just bear with me. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. Hope you dig this, man. Been trying to get in touch with the brother for a minute. You know, and like I said, before we get out of here, we're gonna definitely get the people where they can find your book at, you know what I'm saying? Definitely. And you know, like I said, and come back and you can sit on the panel, because we have a lot of educated brothers who pretty much talk about a lot of this. You know what I'm saying? We try to keep it towards the Americas, because we have been bombarded with that whole African thing for a long time. So a lot of people that kind of take a lot of people away from really touching on the fact that about the Americas. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, the Americas got a very interesting story that no one is really telling. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I found your book to be very interesting. And like I said, the base of my research is pretty much with the Americas, you know, because I came up, I read shit got the Diop and the Dr. Benz and the Dr. Clark, and I read all of them, you know what I'm saying? But when I started touching on the Americas really was something very interesting that much people do not have a lot of forehand knowledge about. So let me see something. Let me see if this is it.
Right. Here's the pyramids.
Wow.
There they are.
Wow, that's interesting. Wow, y'all see that? And what they're gonna try to say is aliens built them.
You know what I had to say? This is what I had to say. That when we went up to Mars and they started taking some pictures, guess what they saw on Mars?
Pyramids and the Sphinx.
And they saw them. Not only there were pyramids, but they were built in mathematical projections on around this one area. They were mathematically centered with other pyramids. Then right next to the pyramids, it says something that just the game was over, and that was half of a mountain was carved into the face of a sphinx, which is a Homo sapien, a human being. Now, here's my question to you. Have you ever seen a statue of a Martian on Earth? No.
Nope.
Therefore, why would you see a statue of a Homo sapien on Mars? You see what I mean?
Because
so we went to Mars and we made those pyramids to show that we were here. We were even on Mars. Okay? So we had a phenomenally advanced civilization way back. It was probably during Zep-Tepi, which is before the last ice age began.
You see this joke shit right here. They try to put an alien, a UFO over the top of the pyramid and try to throw people off, and that's pretty much
maybe
like most of.
Maybe it's not a UFO. Maybe it's one of the kind of ways that we got around way back in the day.
And you're right. You absolutely right. It's unidentified to the Europeans. That's why they call it a UFO, because it's unidentified, because they can't recollect that people was really probably traveling in these type of vessels back in the time. You know,
you remember John Glenn, the very first astronaut? He came down and he made one speech, and they took him off the speech tour, and he didn't speak again. Why was that? Because during that speech, he said that he saw a UFO come up to his window, and he looked at in their window, and there were black men laughing at him. And he says right after that, it went zoom, and they were out of sight. This is what a white astronaut said.
There's a video on YouTube.
I don't know which one it was, but it was the first astronaut who said that.
Yeah. There's a video on YouTube where it's a Caucasian woman interviewing a Caucasian man, and he pretty much said that I don't know, is it a recollection or is it a story, but he pretty much saying that he had a story where it was a vessel that pulled up and landed, and he said off of the ship or the UFO, he said was like 7 foot tall black men. You know what I'm saying? And you know, and the interview is up there on YouTube and everything. And you know, like I said, I find a lot of this stuff interesting. I'm you know, I never, like, even when they have the ancient aliens on on what's that, the Discovery Channel or whatever channel that is. I never was in, because they, these Europeans, they come and they so mesmerized by the stuff they find here that they have nothing to do with it. They don't want to give us credit for it.
Thank you.
Because
You
they
just
all, but
said
they
something
always,
very important. You just said
yeah,
extremely important, my brother. And that is, they don't want to give us credit. They want to keep us in the mode of slavery. They want to be us in our history goes all the way back to slavery in 1619. That's what they want to do in there. And that the first Americans were brought here as slaves in 1619. That's
right.
where they want to keep you, brothers and sisters, and you cannot go for that.
Yeah. And that's what they don't, and that's why I wanted to show you this picture right here I got.
Right.
But that's what they try to do though. Now, I don't know if you ever seen this picture before right here. It should be up in a minute. Oh, it's gonna come up in a second.
All right.
It's something due to take a minute. Let me see. Let me see. Let me go to another picture. I got a bunch of pictures right here. Let me see. Did this one come up yet? No, it didn't come up yet.
I got a question for the Dr. Imhotep. Pleasure speaking with you, brother.
Go ahead.
How you doing?
Almost well as you.
All right. No, I don't think so. But last time we had heard from you, you was I believe in Guatemala and doing some research, getting ready for your up and coming book. Uh how were some of the sites and artifacts that you've seen during Guatemala? I just want you to go in on.
My brother, that's right. We saw the pyramid, step pyramid, and on top of the pyramid, it was a building, and it had three doors, and each one of the doors you open, there were rooms, and the rooms had no other doorways. They had no windows, but all they had in there was paintings on every wall, even the ceiling. And the paintings were of the first black folks in, well, I would say, in Central America to be able to progress to the point where they could build pyramids. And they were, of course, people with dark skin. And not only were they people with dark skin, but they had the locks, the braids, the so-called dreadlocks. And they on these different films and books and whatnot, they can play with people's color, all right, and you don't know what color they were. But when you look at that hair and you see those locks, who are the only people that wear locks and wear long braids and made them like that and cornrows? Those were the people
Right.
from the place where the Nile Valley rose, the Nile River.
Give a, you know what though? Now I don't know. Can you see my screen right now, Professor?
Yes.
Can you see right? This is in Peru. Now look, these are called the Truchilla pyramid, the Truchilla mummies. I'm sorry, Truchilla mummies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what the mummies got? Can you see?
I don't see anything but the pyramids with snow on them.
Oh, you know what? I'm bugging. All right, hold on. Give me 1 second. My bad. Give me 1 second. My bad. Let me come out of this.
Dr. Imhotep, doing some research of my own, I find myself going to Guatemala looking at a lot of the newly excavated and later or tested sites that has been done recently.
Okay.
Also looking in peeling back the layers in Corral Supe in Peru.
Mm-hmm.
And according to the archaeologists and the paleontologists, Ruth Shady and John Haas, they claim that it is the first city in the world and most definitely the first city in the New World, supposedly.
Mm-hmm. I have a question for you. What color are they? The men who said that.
The men who said that is what you would call tan, brown skin. Uh,
Brown skins saying that?
Brown skins who's saying that, who's doing the excavating. They actually speak Spanish, so you gotta get a translator to to actually get them to go into the details, you know, because they speak a Spanish dialect. But dealing with the sites and what they found is was very acute about the site in Corral, which is different than any other city in the world. Is that it probably could be the first city in the world. Not only that, is that they had no fortress, no walls, and they had no weapons. So they're jumping to conclusions that maybe they lived in peace for thousands of years before being abandoned.
And what is the evidence that they show to say that it is first city in the world? What is the evidence, my brother?
Uh, I believe that they have different carbon dating, which is that's using their methodology of testing and dating. Like I said, I'm not there. I'm only going with what the articles is being
Mhm.
presented,
I got
which is the Smithsonian records. I was just asking, do you have information on that? But
well,
the information that they did bring, I believe they tested a few pyramids during that time period, some wood that was inside and organic material
right.
inside the pyramids, along with a couple of the hair samples and different things that was found.
Well, there are many different things to show you, other than those samples of, uh, of wood or from clothing or from DNA or different things. You know, people can make things be whatever they look like and make them look like whatever they can be, and things of this nature. But one thing we know for sure: the first people on the planet came from the Nile Valley. The first, everyone
Now,
from the world.
now hold up, Professor. Now I got a question for. I got a real question before we lose it. All right. Now look, we know that the mummies and we know that the Egyptian mummies they use coca leaves, and now you only find coca leaves one place on the planet. Now a lot of people is saying that, and we got the encyclopedia. Now just just to touch you up on some stuff. That would you be surprised? Now let's just bear with me, talk with me, right? Which now let's say that it was the same black people that was in Africa, but they was in America. Would you find that hard to believe if even if these people telling you now look, you see can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
This is the Tuchila Cemetery in Peru. Now you see these are all so-called mummies that they pulled out here. And like I said, that we know that the Egyptian mummies was wrapped with coca leaves. Now they're telling you that they only find coca leaf. Now, if you saying, let's say that the Great Pyramid in Egypt is 70,000 years ago, but that means that they would have had to come to the Americas to get the coca leaves in order to do the mummification process. So what we saying is we're not saying that, okay, we're saying that they find a new evidence, and they basically saying, now let me show you another picture real quick. Let me show you something else, right? Can you see this picture right here?
I sure can. Mm-hmm.
Can you see the American? I'm circling it right here. Do you see what they said the American looked like? This is an American. What is the difference from him? But look, what's the difference from him and the African? What's the difference?
What, the one in the middle?
Not the one in the middle, the one right. Let me blow it up for you. Let me blow it all the way up.
Oh, the top right hand side?
That's right here. You see this?
What's
the difference from right? What's the difference from him and the African?
That's our
What is the difference?
All of those are our brothers, except the one in the middle, and he's a lady.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But this picture in particular, they're stating that this is an American. Now you see this? Now, let me see.
Oh, no
also,
doubt. I can believe that. I can believe it is American.
Yeah. So, but what the brother AP just asked you, and what he basically alluding to when they saying that, because understand this, me myself, I found that they're saying that the pyramids in Peru are older than the pyramids in Egypt as well. Now they're saying that the pyramids, but just be open-minded with this. Let's be open-minded with this, right? If they're telling you,
but I don't have a hole in my head.
I got you, Professor. But if they're telling you that this man right here that look identically to the African. Now you gotta say that we have different cultural practices than some of the Africans that is in Africa or whatever. The way we wore gold, the way we wore dreadlocks, the way we wore different braids, the way we even wore mohawks over here. Now we have a different culture in the Americas that's not directly the same. Even with some of the research I found.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
So we got a different culture, meaning because how we like even when they show you the Incas, even when they show you the Incas had gold teeth in their mouth. The Incas had these same gold chains and medallions that you see these rappers wearing now. Now these rappers, how would these rappers know if it wasn't in their DNA to wear gold? I mean, I'm keeping it 100.
Perfect example.
I'm keeping it 100. I'm keeping it 100. Like we have our own. That's why I say we have to be proud of our own tradition in the America. Yeah, we can say, okay, we came from Africa, but me myself, you see this brother right here. You see this American. This is my ancestor. This is my brother. This is my ancestor. I mean, we can say that. Okay, that the people that started.
You got hair like
Nah, but what did we do? How did we know to put these different now look, let me put you on something too.
Okay.
And I sent you the link. Okay. I sent you the link so you will have it or whatever. To you. We got what's called right here. Let me see, where is it at? Is it still open? All right, right here. We got the encyclopedia of the so-called American Indian contributions to the world. And in this book itself, it tells you. Now we know we can basically say, but if they're telling you, according to and what I was talking to you about was this Smithsonian article. Now let me just go real quick on this one real quick and show you what they was talking about.
You talking about this
like when I was
right here?
Well, no, I just changed it. I just changed it over, but I just wanted to
absolutely, Dr. Imhotep. That's the book that he's referencing to. Absolutely.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah. So go ahead, A1. I'm sorry.
No, you good. You good. This is a skeleton that they found in the Yucatan Peninsula, and they named Tanaya. Right now, in this, there is an archaeologist and paleontologist. Now, I don't know. Can you see my screen right now? Right here?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now it says right here. It says, but there, and also just real quick. Let me take it up because sometimes this article be bugging, yo. I mean, like trying to go to this website, it really runs slow. So I like to I'll be starting it from the middle of the page sometimes because of how slow it takes to, sometimes these articles, they be moving around real funny. Let me just give me a second real quick. All right, here we go. All right, so let me go all the way to the top. Hopefully it allow me. But in a nutshell, the articles say that they found the 12. All right, here it go. It say DNA from a 12,000-year-old skeleton helps answer the question, who were the first Americans? Now, this would probably be something. Now, we already know, me and you talked about the Smithsonian, but in this article, they're telling the truth. And the reason why they telling the truth, because they cannot hide it. Now, let me go down some. Yes, like I said, it takes a minute. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. Now, this is the part I like to read from. It says, but there lies a puzzle that modern closely resemble the people of China, Korea. It says, but the oldest skeletons does not, say archaeologist and paleontologist James Chatter. Now, that's the source for it, James Chatter, right? They say who is the lead study and owner of applied paleoscience and the research consultant science in Bethel, Washington, right? Now look, when we go right here. Now it says it says a small number of early American specimens discovered so far have smaller and shorter faces, longer and narrower skulls than later Native Americans, more closely resembling the modern people of Africa, Australia, and South Pacific Islands. And say this has led speculations that perhaps the first American, now they saying that they specify, it says the first Americans and Native Americans came from different homelands. It says child continued or migrated from Asia in different stages of evolution. Now we know that the Smithsonian, we know that they got the truth because they have a lot of the shit that they stole from this land. But they put a lot of information kind of misleading. This article right here, this article right here is pretty much telling you that, because if we got the images, what would we say resembles? If we had to say, well, all right, out of all the people in the world, who do he look like? Who do he resemble? He resembles an African, or what we call or claim an African is. But as you see that they calling him an American. This is a Mongoloid right here to the left, and they saying he's from Mongolian, Malayan. So they clearly. This is the same man. This is not no different than him. Only thing about it is the difference from us is just like in the 80s, we wore jerry curls. Just like in the 60s, we put stuff in our hair to make our hair a little straighter or whatever. Just like throughout the whole history, according to what I find in the Americas, we wore different stuff. Just like even when Africans come here now, they will have their hair dry, and they won't even have the same. Like we run around, we have waves in our hair. Nigga put oil in his hair to make his hair look curl. And this is something we always done.
So what's your main point, my brother? What is your main point here that you're trying to make?
No, I mean, we agree on everything because you already said that people been here since. You said that blacks been in the Americas for over 200,000 years. So we know that it was no other. We know it was no other ethnicity or races around at that point in time. So we pretty much clear on that. So
we're on the same page.
Yeah, exactly. But I just wanted to show you some of the research that what we do and what we were.
Y'all have some incredible information, man. You please put this together in some kind of presentation and get that out to the brothers and sisters.
Now I got a whole web page of it. Now look, let me show you something else, right? See this right here?
Send them to me. This is what brother. Teach me. Send them to me too.
No, I got you. I just sent you a bunch. I'm gonna send you some more information. Now this is what they was calling us, right?
Okay.
There's a senator that was in Alabama, right? Now he called blacks in Alabama Aborigines. Now, the blacks in Alabama got mad because they didn't know what an Aborigine is. Now, this is the etymology dictionary. It's etymology online. So this is etymology dictionary. And it says, this is Aboriginal, adjective. It says first, earliest, existing from the beginning, especially existing from the beginning. It says, especially in reference to the inhabitants of the land colonized by Europeans. Now, if you see it go down, now, but you know what though? See, when you tell people about Aborigines, they always allude to the Australian. Now, check it out. It says the specific Australian sense is from 1820. Now we know that Europeans been in the Americas way before 1820. So these people are referring to people in this land. Now let me show you something else too. Now this is the first English dictionary, and this is basically an 1828 dictionary. Just whenever low. All right, now I got the word American already pulled up, right? Now it says a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginals or copper-colored races found here by Europeans. Now what I like to do is this. When people say copper color, because people think copper is light. I tell people to go find a penny. Go find an old penny. Now, let me see. Let me show you something else. Let me open something else up real quick. All right. Let me see. I should have probably had this up already. Yeah.
Copper brown is bronze or darker.
Exactly. Now we see, right? Just like what they showing you, what they like I said, these Europeans will tell you, but they leave it dangling on a rope for us to find it. We gotta be the ones to find our culture, because they're not gonna tell us nothing. They're gonna keep lying to us and keep telling us, oh well, you know, oh, we brought you here. It was no. Now these are the color that they grade copper in. They grade it from red to brown to brown. Now these are the colors in which they say, and these are the colors in which our people come in. You know what I'm saying? Now we got brothers this color, which is almost black, to brown, to light brown, to etc. But when they tell you that, people think that the word America came from America, Alberigo, because his name is not Amerigo. He got that from the Nicaraguan regions of the America, the Nicaraguan regions, or what they call Guyana. The tribes there was already called the Ameri. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of history, man, when you deal with this, man. And also, I don't know, I'm gonna send this to you too. It's a brother that does some good research. This brother right here, realhistory.com, and he has a lot of good research in it. These are, you know, some of the structures that they found in Americas or whatever. He does some great research. This is Luzia, actually, right here. Well, this is Mexico. This is Naya. This is Naya right here to the left, and to the right here, this is Luzia from 11,000 years. This is South America, Central America. Now, this is the Kennewick man that was found in Washington State, and he date back to 9,600 years ago. And you know, like you said, they didn't found stuff over here older than that. But his brother right here do some good research. He got articles like the cranial morphology of the earliest Americans or whatever. And the thing about it is this, right? Now it's telling you, even when we read right here, it says the earliest South Americans tend to be more similar to the present Australian, Melanesians, and Sub-Saharan African. Now, we know what the people in Melanesia look like. We can go get one of them, and they look just like us. But the Australian is what I have a problem with, because the people in Australia has a very distinctive look that I don't see nobody in Americans kind of that's kind of looking like them. You understand what I'm saying? Like the Australians have a distinctive look, and even with their hair texture, you know, most of us don't have the same texture of hair like the Australians. You know, some of us do have very curly hair, but it's kind of like, you know, it's not the same texture as the Australians. But nonetheless, though, they still saying Melanesians and Sub-Saharan Africa.
What date? What are you talking about? Australians that we see today?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, well, we know that the European went there.
Check this out.
Go ahead.
The Australians were the original Australians were killed off. Or because they were small people, the Paul, Small, Twa, and Anu from Africa. All of them were killed off. So the Australians that we're looking at today are not the original Australians.
Are you referring to the people of Tasmania?
Even before Tasmania, I'm talking about the Anu and Twa who went all over the planet. And
wow.
Right?
And you know what? And that's what they talk about, the people that was in the people that was in, what's the name? And
they were everywhere.
And, yeah, but this is where they get the story from St. Patrick's from. The Twa that was over there in I can't think of the name of it. Was in Ireland.
Oh yeah.
So you know, they, like you said, these people was all over the planet.
They were everywhere, including Antarctica.
Yes. And even the funny thing about it is that the original Europeans were Negroes, and that's another story. What stories do you get about that? Because like I said, like I don't know if we talked about this the other day on the phone, but we know after World War II that the Europeans went on an ethnic cleansing spree, to where they was pretty much trying to ethnic cleanse the original black inhabitants out of these areas in Europe. Because we know that the original Russians was Negroes, because there's pyramids in Russia, as well as, you know, there's a lot of pyramids in different parts of Europe as well.
You might as well go to Mars too.
Yeah, exactly. But as far as like, you know, what do you know about Hitler, that he was cleansing the original inhabitants, not the Jews that they show us now, but melanated people? What do you know about that? Have you had any research that touches on that?
No, I don't go near that cracker.
Okay. He said don't go near, near that devil, right?
Yeah.
Yes, but have you heard or have you ever found any research that the original Europeans were Negroes? Because we get the story about the Moors going to Europe. My understanding is that the Moors, or the people that we call Moors, because Moor is just a dark skin complexion person.
Right.
The people that we assume to be the Moors that of antiquity was already there. The Europeans is the people. The modern day Europeans are the people in which that was brought there.
Right.
So you understand what
I call those whites less. We were Moors and they were less.
Exactly. And you know, and like I said, it's a lot, man. I have a lot of research on this, man.
No
and
doubt,
even
a library.
Yeah, they was calling us Moors here as well.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? They was calling, and this is like I said, these mummies is in Peru.
Mm-hmm.
They're called the Chuchilla mummies, and this is just one of the dreads that they found. This is actually in the New York Museum.
Mm-hmm.
These dreads right here. You see how long the dreads is?
You go.
You think it's ironic that the people that's in Peru right now don't wear hairstyle? You think it's ironic that we wearing gold on our body, we wearing gold in our mouth, we wearing these particular hairstyles, all of the stuff that they show you for antiquity? The Black Americans are the only people who kind of really doing it.
That's right. And one thing you touched on before, the color of the pennies, brother, we have a larger spectrum that you showed on the pennies. We go from blue-black Africans, blue-black, so black that their skin has a beautiful texture of blue in it, all the way to white. You're talking about the albinos. Okay. I'm talking about albinos who have wide noses, thick lips, African hair, but their skin is white because they're albino. So we go all the way out. Whereas whites, I just showed you before that they only have one color of the skin and they have a few colors of the eyes and their hair, because they have not been on the planet long enough to decentralize and become different, broader and broader and broader. Whereas we have all kinds of looks because we have been here for millions of years, maybe millions of years.
Okay, so now the last time me and you talked about, I was telling you that we know, I don't know, and this is not a popular talk among like epidemic. I mean, in the educational fields or among scholars, most people don't know that the original. All right, when we talk about slaves, most of us, we're not slaves because we know that Slavic and that Slovenian group of people. We're more like POWs because even when you study the Pequots of Massachusetts, the Pequots were the first people who was supposedly been enslaved and that was sent to the West Indies. Now, I told you that they would send us from this country to the West Indies and bring us back as Negroes. Right. Now, what the
taken our brains, after they had taken our culture, after they had pushed out of our information that they learned all their lives, and they put in their information, brainwashed these folks, and then took them back.
Exactly.
Right.
And then they no, go ahead, AP, go ahead.
No, you good. I was just going to refer to I remember something being said last time we had spoke with the Dr. Imhotep. And you referred to America as being the grandmother land. I was just want you to go into that a little bit for me.
Okay. I called they call the Olmecs. They call them the mother civilization of the Americas, right? Isn't that right?
You know what? Peru is a little older than the Olmecs. I mean, you know,
but they are identified.
They call them the mother civilization. Well, what I call the grandmother civilization were the short blacks from Anu and Twa from Africa who were here before the Olmecs came.
Okay.
That's what I call the grandmother civilization.
Okay. Because you do know that they say that the pyramid of Peru, that civilization is older than the Olmec. Because according to them, now I don't know as far as my research, I only can go off of the dates that they give or whatever for these lands or whatever. I haven't done no personal field work or no excavations of myself, but they're telling you that the Olmec civilization dates up to about 1500 AD or somewhere around there. So they say maybe roughly around 3,500 years ago. But they're saying that the Peruvian civilization goes back to almost 7,000 years, and they was mummifying people up there. Now we know that these numbers could be wrong. We know that these numbers could be way higher.
Or were they white folks?
No, we know they was black. They was Negroes. No doubt. No doubt. They was Negroes.
I don't care where they are, even on Mars. As long as they're black, they're my brothers and sisters. So,
okay, but just for the education, just for the viewers, just for them, we clear on everything, but just so that people that's listening, so they can get a greater understanding, so they don't leave away from this with questions in which they don't pretty much understand what we talking about. We already know. We already then clarified and said that people was here. You said pretty much the same thing that James Small said, that there was people in the America over 200,000 years old. And a lot of people within the so-called, now I don't want to say Pan-African, don't want to believe this. They don't want to believe this. A lot of Pan-Africans do not want to believe what we're talking about today, Dr. Imhotep. They don't want to believe this because they feel as though it takes away from their research in Africa. But if it was black people already here and we are the ancestors of them and we didn't come here on boats directly from Africa, with the exception to how we said that there was a land that separate, there was a land where the Atlantic Ocean is at, that basically connected America to Africa or to that continent already. You know what I'm saying? So, prior to whatever the great cataclysm, which I read,
about 18 to 60 million years ago, when it was Gaia, everything was one continent.
I mean, yeah, but everything still is one continent. It's just water covering it.
Right.
So it's still Pangea. But like you said, even I've like what you said about the ice melting and the floods coming from that. I've also heard of cataclysms from so-called comets that came here. Have you heard about anything dealing with that?
They come all the time.
Okay, all right. So
some of them burn up in our atmosphere, but some of them get through.
Yes,
like
exactly.
Like the ones that hit North America. There is a in one of the Great Lakes, Lake Michigan, there is a crater that is 3 miles wide in the middle of Lake Michigan. In the different places they hit, all the way down to the Carolina Bays in North Carolina. You know what I'm saying? There's one that hit the Bahamas, way before then. There's another one that hit in the Gulf of Mexico. I mean, they've always hit the planet. Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with you.
And that's what's not taught, but that's like, I mean, we having a wonderful conversation. I definitely like to thank you, my brother, for being open-minded, because a lot of people we talk to, even though you still African-centered, you still telling us that it was people here for hundreds of thousands of years, which most people don't want. Most people don't believe that they was here prior to 1619. They don't believe that. They believe that they came when we showing you evidence that it was people here for a long period of time. We showing you, and then another thing too, when I wanted to show you real quick, what I was telling you about the other day. Let me see something. Let me open this up one more time.
While you're looking for that, bro, please take all of the information you got it, categorize it, put it into different steps, and start teaching our people that are around you and away from you of what you have learned. This is, you are going all over the place. You have some phenomenal information, but it has to be put in like well, I know you're rushing right now because we only have a certain amount of time, but you have a vast amount of knowledge that please you got to get out to some of your family members and your friends, and then go out over and over and over and show them some of this information that you have, brother, because brother, you're phenomenal. You're phenomenal.
When you get a chance though,
Yes,
what
sir.
I'm gonna do is what I would like you to, man, you should open up a YouTube page, man. You know what I'm saying? And some of your friends and some of the scholars who you can start Skyping and doing your own Google Hangouts. Remember we talked about the individual, we ain't gonna mention his name, or which the person you had to know, but the same bill or the same build y'all had on his channel, you can invite your own people and have them talk about this on your channel. And this would be something phenomenal because we can, like I said, I'm trying to get in touch with Dr. Clive Winters. And I would love to do an interview with him. If you can make that happen for me, man, I would love to do it. And as a matter of fact, I would love to do an interview with both of y'all. We can just do a live stream like this and just open it up. And we could just talk about, like you said, just talk about a bunch of different stuff, a bunch of different research, as well as dealing with them. Because, most of our people, man, okay, we know, or most agree that we started off in Africa, but most of us don't know that we've been in the Americas, and these people are covering this up. They're covering the fact up that we've been here, and they don't want us to do that. You know what I'm saying? And Dr. Clinton, he touched on a lot of that, man. And like I said,
they do that because they want to keep the superiority of their European dominance. They want to continue that, and they want to keep us from learning our stuff and teaching it to other people, so that the gap is slower and slower, and it's slowly coming up to where they are. And it should be like this, but it's like this right now. So they want to stay superior so they can stay in a ruling class, etc., etc. I mean, this is so simple to see.
No doubt, no doubt. So, what tribes did your grandmother say you came from? I mean, because I know we talked about this already. And actually, just to let the people know, I don't really want to give out your location though, but the doctor's actually near Roanoke. How do you pronounce that word? How do you pronounce the Virginia? I say Roanoke, Virginia, but you told me Roanoke.
Roanoke.
Roanoke. And that's the indigenous name. That's an indigenous word.
Yes, it is.
Roanoke. What, as far as before it was named Virginia, what did they call that landmass that's called Virginia now? Do you have any knowledge about that?
No, I don't have any knowledge about that. No.
Maybe Chesapeake.
What's that?
Maybe Chesapeake.
Well, it could be, because of Chesapeake Bay. Could be. Could have been.
Okay. No doubt. Definitely, man. It's been a phenomenal interview, man. Definitely. We're about to start winding it down so we can let you handle what you have to handle for the day. But like I said, man, the next with you, like I said, I would love to see. Sorry, go ahead.
There with you who were talking. Introduce me to him.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, brothers, can y'all introduce yourself to the professor?
Absolutely. Peace, Dr. Imhotep.
Sir.
Aboriginal power. It's always a pleasure speaking with you. So much bliss to you and your family as well.
Thank you, sir. Back to you.
Jag.
Yeah, peace. This Jaguar. I just want to say appreciate you for, coming out and letting people know your side and how you came to your studies, man. Yeah, we just really wanted to, see the archaeologist African standpoint of view, and just wanted to know if you really had any information considering the Americas compared to, what some of the encyclopedia had to say. But it's all good, man, because like you say, you willing to check it out, and I'm all for it, man. So I'm just proud to be part of this, man. So appreciate you.
Thank you, brother. It sounds like with all you brothers, we're of one mind. We're not. There's no difference with us with our information.
Nah,
That's
no
right.
doubt, and that's what's up though. That's it. Long, like I said, you saying that people been here 200,000 years old. That's it. That's all we need to know. That's all we don't need to go no further than that. 200,000 years. It's significant or whatever as far as black people or what we call aborigines already being on this continent of North America, South America, Central, and the conjoining islands. And like I said, what would be nice is if you can take some time out to possibly, get Dr. Booker T. Coleman and some of your you know what I'm saying, some of your contemporaries together, and you can do some Google Hangouts. And like I said, we would love to watch that. You ain't gotta go through, oh boy, the guy we mentioned or whatever. You can basically open your own YouTube channel and then have your own little Google Hangout, such as what we doing now. You know what I'm saying? And have your just have, just like the same way me and you, we got together to put this interview together. You can get with some of the brothers ahead of time, and you can put powerful little documentary, or not documentary, but just pretty much, if we call them builds or whatever, with some of your brothers, like we said, Clive Winters, Booker T. Coleman, and some of these other brothers that you know what I'm saying, that's in your field of study or whatever. And just so people can always go to that, man. And that would be something very good, man, for you, man. So I mean, I don't know if you're open to do that, but if you need any help, like I said, you already got me,
Yes, I need the help.
I got you.
Let me tell you what's on my table right now. I've got to first finish with these abomination of I would say of the last book publisher that I had, because they stole money from me and they did a lot of other things. Okay, that I'm not going to talk about now, because I don't like to say negative things out, even about my enemy. But I had to get away from them. I'm trying to finish that so I can get my latest edition of my book, The First Americans Were Not Africans. Then my second, excuse me, the second book is a book called Ali and Me. It tells about, I've got about 30, 35 pictures of Ali with myself and other people talking about different things and et cetera, about that life. Then I have a third one of making my pulling my dissertation down from this intellectual level down to where everyone can say, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about there, I understand that there, instead of that intellectual BS. So to make it, there for everybody. And then I have a fourth one, about the Menehune, the short Anu and Twa. So I've got all those things that I had to put together first. Then once I get those together, then I want to do the YouTube channels, those things that you brothers are doing like in light years ahead, especially with all the information you have, brother. This has been a seamless presentation that you put together, and all of you brothers together, man. Please continue working together. Don't, throw out the egos, because we have no place in egos in what we have to go through in these next few years. So y'all are on the right track, brothers. Keep doing it.
No doubt. And what we're going to do is, when you get your book and when you get everything, like I said, if you need to put some of these pictures in it that I got, or some of the information that you could just, like I said, we got a bunch of additional information. I don't know how far you are with the completion of your book, or whether or not it's completed in its entirety. But if you need any help, man, we gotta listen. This is just three of the brothers in which we do. We got another brother, Karimio. We got a bunch of brothers, Chief Holiday. We got a bunch of brothers who have compiled the information that can possibly help you, man. And like I said, and this is just
where you located? What city you from? Where you talking from now?
These brothers is further down south. Like they more. Would you tell the brothers where you tell a brother where you from? Where y'all from?
He want to know where you from, but I'm in Tennessee though. We in Tennessee.
Okay.
And
well, I'm in Jersey. I'm in North Jersey. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah,
say that again, Jack. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm South Carolina.
Okay,
he in South Carolina, so he ain't too far away from you. South Carolina, right? But yeah, man, like I said, man, you got my math or whatever. You know, you call me A1. You got my personal name, but you know, I don't like to really put that on my channel. And you have my number, you got my email. If you need anything, let me know. Like I said, as far as you can in the book, or like if you satisfied with the research you got already, you know what I'm saying, just let me know when you get the book out so I can definitely cop the new book. I'm gonna definitely cop it for my own, just for my own purposes or whatever. And well as I can tell to the my subscribers, man, to reach out and get it, man, because this is a classic. This is a classic book, man. Just like before they came before Columbus, I got 2 editions of that. I got the Man Pyramid first, the first book, the first Americans and African. I want to get the revised edition or whatever, and we all need that for our library, man.
Okay.
So, like I said,
Well,
it's been wonderful having you, man. Definitely,
is there any way
Professor.
to call me tomorrow so we can do a debriefing, just you and I, about this meeting? What's
Yeah, no doubt,
tomorrow?
no doubt. Definitely. I do that. I call you around like 12ish because I'll be in the house with me and my daughter.
At noon.
So,
That's good. We can debrief and talk about. Yeah.
Exactly. So, you know, with that being said, I definitely appreciate you coming through, man. Like I said, this has been what we call a heavyweight build. We call this a head. This is what, like you said, you was training the champ, which was a heavyweight. This is a heavyweight jam right here. What we call it, a heavyweight build or whatever. To have someone of your magnitude with your knowledge and everything to come through, man. So with that being said, man, thank you brother, once again for coming through. We'll be in community. We'll be in contact, so you guys can go out there and support this brother for his coming up. As far as his intellectual properties and everything, on the line I had the brother Aboriginal Power and my brother Jaguar Omek as well. And this is the Tontinous one. And like I said, I'd like to thank Dr. David Imhotep. Again,
Right.
I like to call him my uncle because he seemed like my uncle, man. Me and him have some good conversations. The brother is very open-minded, seem like family members, man. And I'm still gonna reach out and introduce you to the brother, the medicine man. So hopefully, I'll probably call him today.
Okay.
And tomorrow when I call you, I can have him on the line and introduce you to him. And then, like I said, this brother has a bunch of information, man, and you'll love to talk to him. So with that being said, we're gonna let you go, my brother. I will be in contact with you tomorrow, though, man.
Okay, thank you very much for what you're doing. And you brothers stay together and keep doing what you're doing because it's phenomenal work that is needed, direly needed for our brothers and sisters out there because times are getting heavy. It's not going to get any better.
No doubt. Oh, he muted his mic. Hold up. Hold up. Let me see. He muted his mic. You unmuted. Oh, unmute your mic again. Doc. I'm sorry. Oh no, he muted his mic.
Right there.
Yeah, you good. Yeah. Hey, one more question before I let you go, man. Just real quick, one more question. This ain't gonna take you too long. Do you think that us as Aborigines in America, now I'm talking just for us here in North America or whatever, do you think that we owe reparations?
We owe an ass whooping, brother.
Huh? All right, I got you. All right, that's definitely self-explanatory. You're right, absolutely right about
I say that in jest, but things have got to change, and they cannot change violently because I don't know if you know this, but these fools now in this I'll say number 45 because I don't even refer to him by name, but he says that they're starting to demilitarize the different people, the places all around the world that they have army bases, and they're calling these guys home because they don't need them anymore because they have that Star Wars thing up and running. In other words, they have missile sites up in the air, okay, in the atmosphere, on gigantic stations that they have up in space, outer space, and they can shoot missiles down at different places without losing one man fighting. So we cannot we cannot come in a violent manner. We've got to come in a spiritual manner, okay, and also a manner that makes sense for all people, not just people of color, but all people, so we can live together and we don't have to deal with a tyrant. We can be peaceful and we can be doing our own thing without interference. You understand what I'm saying?
No doubt, no doubt. That's satisfaction right there. Like I said, I'd like to thank you one more time for coming through, man. I will reach out to you tomorrow, and this been a great build among the brothers and the brothers that's actually in. Shout out to everybody in the chat room, man. Hope you guys appreciate the build. And we having a brother Dr. David Imhotep over, and like I said, this will be the first, but it won't be the last. So with that being said, I am the Tantralist one. Thank you very much for coming through. Thank you very much, AP Power, my brother Jaguar Olmec, and we're gonna end this live right now. And with that being said, man, peace, Doc, man. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you for having me, brothers.
No
Peace.
doubt, no doubt.
Hotep.
Otep, peace, 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 my brother, peace, peace, peace.
Damn, so everybody just hurry up and dip out, huh?
He's still alive too.
We out, man.
All right, we're gonna hold it down. Nah, just playing. You know, stay on there for a few seconds. But damn though, I said Copper K, don't be trolling, man. Stay on there for a few seconds.
Okay, in the chat trolling.
Oh, we still alive. I'm getting off.